Well, hello there again, everybody. Boyd back with you, and welcome to part one of our Revell 1500 Enterprise Into Darkness buildup. I've started making some progress on the model. I've actually done some work this evening on it, and I wanted to show you guys the progress and talk about a couple of things that I've noticed about the building of the kit so far. Overall, the parts fit seems to be going along pretty well. As I mentioned in the review I did of the kit earlier, the plastic that they use to mold the secondary hull is very thin, and the little key guides that we have, the little pins around here and there, are very, very tiny. They do line up pretty well, but you want to make sure when you're putting this together to pay some extra attention to detail to make sure you have it lined up really right. It's really easy to miss one of the mounting pegs and wind up having a step where one part doesn't mate perfectly level to the other one. And I wanted to show you that I've started working in some of the lighting here just using basic LED tape here. And what I've done here is I've used some bright white and some slightly different white that I have, which will kind of give a little bit of variation in the lighting of the windows. This isn't going from bright white to warm white, but just a little bit of a step in between to give a little bit of a difference there. And I think that's going to look pretty good. The nacelles, pretty much the same thing as the secondary hull here. They're very thin, and they seem to fit pretty good when you get everything lined up perfectly with the pegs and all that. But you want to, like I said, you want to make sure you pay extra attention to detail on that. I'm waiting for the Tenant Controls lighting kit to get here before I decide what I'm going to do to internally light those, so it'll be a little while before I have an update on those. But the lighting of the windows is going pretty straightforward here on the secondary hull. I'm going to put this together for you real quick, and we'll just do a little quick lighting on this and show you the how the window lighting is looking. Again, this version of the Enterprise doesn't have a whole lot of windows in the secondary hull, so it didn't take very much tape to get that LED tape to get that lit up. So if I can get it temporarily put together here for you, we'll hook this up to power and give you a little lighting view here. It'll just take me a second here to clamp this on. And of course we've got to put the window inserts in there yet, but whoops, I knocked that one off right away. There we go. Now you can see just a little quick view here how nice that window lighting is going to look. And when the lenses are in there, of course it'll come through a lot more clearly, so it doesn't take much at all to light the secondary hull. Now we'll be doing something different there with the got a bad connection here, guys, forgive me. We're going to do something a little different towards the front with the deflector dish and everything, of course, but just the basic window lighting here looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that, how that turned out. One other thing I'll point out here as far as the fit of this model, I noticed something, and it might be just on this particular model that I bought and not true on all these, but if you look really closely right here, I want to make sure I'm in camera. Right here where the torpedo launcher is located, this one here on the starboard side of the part seems to have a sort of a little kink in the mold here to where it doesn't fit together very well there at all. I'm having to squeeze really hard to get that center section together. I'll be able to take care of it, but it's just going to take a little extra effort there to make sure we get some really good glue in there to make sure that doesn't split on us later on. But and again, it might be just a aberration on this kit and not on all of them, but just something that I noticed. But overall, the fit on this thing's pretty good, and I think once it's all glued together, there are some inner bulkhead parts that go inside here. You can see the little slots from right here that'll help strengthen up the inner part of the hull quite a bit. So I made sure when I put my LED strip in that I stayed away from those. And so that'll probably help beef this up quite a bit. And I think once it's all glued together and the dorsal top is put on here for the pylons and everything, that will be a little bit more happy with the strength of that. Now, one other really important thing that I ran into, you can see I've got the lower sensor dome assembly glued on. That's a two-part piece. You have the outer ring and then the center part. This all drops in from the back side of the saucer here. One of the interesting things that's going on around the forums is that people are noticing the mounting pegs on this fit really tight. And when you're test fitting this onto the neck, you probably only want to do that one time or maybe two times, because they're saying that once you put it on there, they're having a really hard time pulling it back off, and they're breaking the mounting pegs off of there. So just kind of a little heads up on that. That's kind of floating around on some of the forums right now about this model. What I ran into here is very interesting. Now, if you look at the BC deck assembly here, this part actually comes molded all as one piece. And when you go to start test fitting this and you put the this kind of spine part on right here, you notice that it lays over the top of the BC deck here. And the problem with that is that the edge of the spine part here lays over top of this, and it won't lay down flush, so you have like this huge gap where the whole part starts to lift up, and the step that they've got molded into that is not correct for matching up with the back side of the BC deck. Now, I've got the BC deck lined up exactly on the mounting pegs where it's supposed to be, and so I started thinking about that. And so what I did is I just went in with my Dremel tool and I removed the entire middle section there so that this will blend in. We'll just use a little bit of filler on that and clean up all that little seam there. But now our spine piece lays down on here nice and flat like it should, and when you put the bridge detail on here and line that up where it's supposed to be, you can see you're going to wind up with a little bit of a gap right there. What we'll be doing to fix that is we're going to put a little piece of stripped styrene in there and fill that, and then of course putty that up and sand it down and make it look all nice and pretty. So you'll see when you try to test fit your parts, when you start working with that, the fact that that part actually is, you know, sliding over the top. This BC deck part here kind of comes to a point, like a little triangle shape there, the tip of a triangle there at the very rear, and it's just, I don't know, they missed that one pretty bad. I mean, this part didn't even come close to wanting to lay down on their flat, so something had to be done with that. And just another little thing that I wanted to point out. So everything else is coming along really well. Like I said, I've got my lighting done on this, and we're lighting up all of our window ports really nice. We'll be getting the antenna controls kit in here very shortly, and that's going to tell me what I'm going to need to do for lighting this deflector dish, the sauce, or the nacelles. And people have been asking me if I'm going to do any kind of mechanical effect on that nacelle to get the counterclockwise and clockwise spinning. I don't think I'm going to get that elaborate on this build. We're just going to do an LED kind of rotating lighting effect that Ralph at Tenna Controls has come up with, and I think that'll look pretty nice anyway. You could get really crazy on that. I know there's a couple people that are actually looking at motors that actually have a counterclockwise and clockwise rotating effect built onto the same shaft. I think it was from some type of an RC helicopter or something where they had counter-rotating propellers on one shaft. And, you know, you could maybe get into some mechanical type of, such as we saw on the model, or on the CGI model from the movie, where you had these kind of counterclockwise and clockwise rotating black discs inside of that. But I'm not going to get that crazy on this. We're going to have a nice kind of a spinning effect in there. And, of course, the really nice accent lighting on all the nacelles, and the really unique strobe light flashing pattern that this particular ship has, where you kind of get a quick couple of flashes and then one flash. It's completely different than all the earlier Federation ships that we're used to. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to do some lighting here on the front and get the top of the saucer lit up and all that. So with some of our SMDs and everything. So things are coming along really well, guys. So I'll be back again in another day or two with another update on the build progress here. It won't be long. We'll have this thing pretty much assembled. The build is going to be pretty straightforward on this. This model really reminds me a lot of building the old 18-inch AMT Enterprise kit. It's very similar in a lot of ways, even though it doesn't look anything like it. But so not too difficult to build, but you know, getting lighting in and doing all those little things. And then of course we're going to be doing the really complex paint job on this with all the Aztecs and the iridescent pearl colors. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and that's what's really going to bring this model to life. And that, combined with the really detailed decal sheet that they give you with it, which I showed you on the review, it should make this a pretty nice looking model. So okay, guys, well, I'll be back again in a couple of days. All of you take care out there, keep building those models like always, and we'll see you next time. Happy modeling, everyone.